Question for both of you guys. So obviously, the word tells us that men are called to be the spiritual leaders of the household. It sounds like both of you guys want that. Are you guys also excited to submit to a husband who's a strong leader in the household?
Do you want to answer? You want me to?
You can go first.
Yes. 100% yes.
Am I in church right now?
Because, and this I do want to say has changed for me. In college, I had a full ride scholarship. I was like, I want to be, what can I be? Do I want to be a lawyer? Do I want to do whatever? Like, I want to be the boss girl. And it changed a lot for me. My mom was actually, and this is a little off what you're saying with faith, but I think it connects. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I used to think that that was not a real job, and that her helping at the home with my dad working wasn't a real job. And then I realized later on when my dad told me how much his life has been helped. He's a pilot. He does a lot. He works really, really hard. And he said he could not do that and support our family without my mom's support, and that he gives everything to my mom, the fact that she would do that and get kids to school and things like that. So I really used to have an edge to me about submission, that was weak. And now I think it's actually really a good thing, because I think that men are supposed to lead, and I think women are supposed to submit in a way that benefits both of them.
How is that not reciprocity, though? Why is that submitting? Because they're both contributing in huge ways. Why is it submitting versus just calling it reciprocity? Just out of curiosity.
I would say it's submission because the man, and for me, I'll just say this for what I want the man to make decisions. I want him to be the one that puts the effort in with making sure that we are provided for. And I think that women should not just not do anything, but I don't think that, I don't want to be an equal with my husband. I don't want us to both be, I think we're equal in our value, but I don't want us to both be equal earners and things like that. I actually would rather be under him and have him lead.
And that's okay. Like,
yeah, that's fine. I just don't know that.
And I don't think that's weak. I also want to say I don't think that's weak
Ousties.
at all.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, submission. I look to my family for an example, and when I see my parents, there were a lot of times where my mom did not submit to my father, and in those situations, that's where things kind of went a little bit wrong. So I can see that as an example of where it could create some problems. So submission, yeah. But don't look at submission as
let her finish her answer.
I just want a definition. I don't even know what we're talking about. I'm not pious and religious. I'm genuinely trying to ask, when you're saying the word submission, what you mean, because my version of what that means, I don't think is aligning with what you guys are saying. So I'm just trying to understand. I'm not trying to cut off to be rude. I'm really trying to understand.
So I consider it willful cooperation, but some people have a different sense of it. Go ahead, Chase.
Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, what I would expect from a wife in terms of submission is her recognizing I have the ultimately I'm responsible for my family being safe, provided for, protected, properly led through this world, all that kind of stuff, right? Like at the end of the day, if my family, gets fucking killed or wrecked, or if they're properly provided for, it all comes down on me, right? And so I expect my wife to defer to me when it comes to important decisions about where should we live, where should we send the kids to for school, what church should we go to, should I take this job or that job? If my wife wants me to do one job, but I'm like, no, I think this is the important one, I'll expect my wife to submit to me in that and to trust in my leadership.
Your ultimate say supersedes hers at the end of the day for the well-being of the family?
Yeah, it's essentially trust in leadership, but it's not. That doesn't mean that I'm going to look at my wife like somebody to just boss around. Like I want her to be my partner. I want to come to my wife.
You care about what she has to say when you're like, which job, but the ultimate come down to which one you pick would be you, and that's the submittance part.
And also keep in mind that the man, when you are submitting to him, it's not just any man. This is a man who has earned your respect. Mm-hmm. This is a man who has earned that position.
Sure. So it's like these are like literally from the Bible. That's why I'm like so just like this. I'm really asking. I'm just
for us,
over my head.
like us non-Christian people. Yeah. It's like a father while you're married, basically.
I'm
not saying.
It's like what?
Listen, guys.
A father while you're married?
Listen, guys. Before you take my head off.
I'm not triggered. Before
you take my head off.
A father while you're married?
Literally just explain it in like, because I've noticed obviously this half of the table is the Christian, this half of the table is not
obviously not.
And basically what you're describing to people like us when it comes to a man is an extension of a father. Somebody who provides, does everything, and you go to with your, I would go to my dad, for example, with maybe I want to go here or that, and then listen to him in the end, because he brings in the money, whatever.
Okay.
So for us, in layman's terms, obviously it's much more to it, but in the end of the way, it's like, like not, maybe not dad, but a parent in a sense, like.
That's a fair way.
Like in a non-creepy
Yeah.
way. I totally get what you're saying.
Well,
I'm not trying to bring it back to the creepy shit.
No, this
It
goes
wasn't
back
creepy.
completely to the Andrew Tate situation, which we already discussed.
Oh, please, I don't want to hear
But
his
I
name.
think
Chase, please.
I just
Please.
want to say though, as a woman, because I think that I see a lot of women that get really triggered at the word submit, like submission.
I think that's what I was trying
and
to ask.
follow-
Because
yes.
I really didn't
Totally.
understand, like, from the, I guess, the book
Yes.
side of it.
Well, and here's why. Because culture tells us that we should not submit. Everything in culture, in college courses, in literally everything in media, in popular culture, tells us that as women, not only that we can do exactly the same thing as men, but that we should be better than them and that they should be taken out of society. I think it's getting really bad, actually.
See, like, and
Go
ahead,
that's not the problem with that, is that makes us then look at men as bad and not good, and that we shouldn't submit, or we should be the ones that lead. And I don't think that that's, I actually totally believe I got a college degree. I work a 9 to 5 right now. I don't want to forever, but I do right now. I pay my own full rent on my apartment in San Diego.
Yeah.
I do all of that. But I don't think I do what men do. I actually think men are great. Men actually made the rights that you guys all have. Men literally wrote the Constitution.
Well,
No, I'm serious.
I would have loved the
And
privilege to be there, too.
I just want to put that out there because I think that women hate on men so much, and
I hate on everyone.
And there's no right that men have that I don't have. So, and you guys too. So all that I'm saying is that, and I just want to say one more thing.
Go ahead.
Submission it gets a bad rap because it sounds like,
sounds
oh,
bad.
we're letting the guy like walk all over us.
Can I
I actually
clarify?
don't think that that's it at all.
I think a good way to clarify it is not submit. It's not like submit to men. It's like submit to a good man that you think is like deserving of doing that. So if you're with your partner and your partner happens to be the type of man that's abusing you, you shouldn't be submitting to him. You
Yeah.
should be leaving.
And,
so it's
and
not
the Bible
submit-
says that. The Bible
yeah,
actually,
it's not
like,
submit
has-
to bad men
Yeah.
or any men or
Yeah.
all men. It's
Yeah.
submit to good men because you have already decided that you trust their
I
leadership.
feel like that's where, like, I sometimes, like, because we didn't, honestly, I think he should have had us all go around, since this is basically obviously what the debate is about, and say either our political stance or our religion or whatever, because it's obviously what this all is going towards. But, like, I don't even call myself, you would think from my opinions this whole time that was been brought up, you would think I'm the biggest liberal, snowflake, whatever. I don't even consider myself a full liberal. I'm very in between. I have conservative views and I have liberal views. Just like if it would help my household, if my household would be the most prime if I stayed home and my husband went to work or wife or whatever, then I would do that, because I'm all for optimizing my family. And that's why I do understand the conservative standpoint, or of, like, because it's where we block, is because you guys, not you guys, okay, well, a lot of conservatives believe men and women are already equal in society and they haven't done anything, but there's certain responsibilities of a man, where I believe society does not make us equal. So why make my life harder by not making it just follow what it already is? Changing my life isn't going to change the course of America, right? So if it's easier in these ages for my husband to go work and me stay home with the kids and cook and clean and him bring in the income, I'm not going to go against that, because my family going against it isn't going to change the patriarchy of America.
Right.
There is no
Right.
patriarchy.
Brian,
What?
please, you just got back. Just sit there.
No, I-
Let Chase
I-
speak.
I-
I agree.
I
I
see
agree.
that.
with that.
There's no
I agree with that.
there is no
I will say
patriarchy.
that the biggest submission, in my opinion, is a man dedicating his whole life to provide for his woman and child. So
That's important.
Yeah,
That's
I
important.
think that's like the ways that like a man submits. Like
It's
you're
equal.
in a Christian idea. Like the man is submitting to God, and so by submitting to God, that means you're submitting to
whatever
like,
you want to call
the
it.
well-being. Yeah, whatever you call it, like in a non-Christian way as well. But just he should be, if you want to call it that. Like,
I think you guys are being
submitting-
too technical, because I think that we agree with each other. You guys just want to like put.
I
certain
agree
No, no, no,
too.
hold on, hold on,
Honestly,
hold on,
I
hold
think
on.
at the end of the day, it's everyone is at a common understanding that both parties should just want the
Be a
most
team,
well-being for their
yeah.
family. And so if you come from a perspective where that means a certain lifestyle of like a stay-at-home mom is what's most conducive to the benefits of your family, people are in agreement is what I'm saying. I don't think like, I know that the show like pretty much forces people to like want to like get into like debates, but honestly, it's all semantics half the time, I really feel. So
I disagree.
that's my
I think,
Quite fair.
and the
course.
reason why is just because I don't think it's semantics, just because there's so many women that want, they want to work, they want to earn money, they want 50% of the say in what happens in the household and stuff, and that's very different from this idea of submission, right? And I think just to clarify it, to make it like super clear, it's just trusting in your man's leadership above all else.
But you're still saying that there's like a two-way conversation happening under the roof. Like that's more important than just being like, well, since I'm the man, like I'm just gonna go ahead and make a decision without saying.
I feel like
anything.
that's what people imagine it to be. But what I want is a really smart wife who I can partner with to build an empire. I want to consult with her, be like, hey babe, what do you think about these things? And then ultimately the final decision. If her and I differ, I expect her to defer to me.
When it comes to family matters.
That's why I said it's kind of like a father or either mother relationship, because I would hope my parents, we would have conversations, but at the end of the day, what they said goes because they're putting a roof over my head.
Exactly.
So that's why I used that example earlier.
You said your mom didn't always submit to your dad when you were growing up, and you noticed that? Yeah, I noticed the same thing when I was growing up. Like there were, especially around financial stuff, my mom would make these like super risky financial moves that could have paid off big, and my dad would be like, babe, like pump the brakes, and she'd be like, no. And she would go through on them, and we got burned so hard in 2008.